Hello and welcome to the Arena Moto assembly video. These are the parts you'll find in the package. We'll start by attaching the foot onto the legs using the bag of screws labeled A. It's important that the feet face the right way, since one of the sides are longer than the other. The long side is going to face towards where you sit, and the crossbar mount will be facing the opposite side. In the manual, you'll be able to see a depiction how it's supposed to be set up. Remember to tighten the screws in a crisscross pattern all throughout the build. Now, do the same thing to the other foot and leg. Let's move on to the crossbar that will connect the desktop. The part should be faced like this when connected. At this point, it's very important that we only screw in the screws loose. We will later on in the build tighten all the screws at the same time. This is to ensure that all parts are correctly connected before locking everything in and tightening it. These are the holes that will be facing up toward the desktop and later on connected. When finished, do the same thing to the other crossbar. Make sure the holes meant for the desktop are facing downward when attaching the crossbar to the legs like this. The middle section of the crossbar should be facing inward. Do this using the screws labeled C. Remember, we're still not tightening the screws. It's now time to put together the desktop. Take the three parts and slide them together, leaving no gap in between the tabletops. After this, we're taking the legs and the crossbar and mounting it on top of the desktop. Use the screws labeled D. At this point, double check that the legs and feet are turned the right way, long side of the foot towards where you sit, short side and the leg crossbar mount facing away from you, toward the cable holes. Put all the screws in their place. Remember the screws on the inside of the rail as well. Now we will mount the control unit in between the rails. You will use the G screws for this. You can choose which way you want it to face, depending on preference. Now we can mount the display using the H screws. This can be placed on the left or right side, depending on preference. Put the cords into the control unit, power cord on one side and display cord along with the leg motor cords on the other side. Now all cords are in their place. Now we assemble the crossbar that will stretch from leg to leg using the F screws. It should look like this, with the outer parts overlapping the middle one. It can now be placed onto the legs, facing this way. At this point, we can tighten all the screws that we've used so far. Go through the entire build and tighten everything as much as you can. It's very important that you're meticulous, since the desk stability depends on it. Now we will screw in the cable net screws. Once they're in place, we can put the net in place underneath the crossbar. Last piece of the build is the mouse mat. Once the desk has been assembled and power has been supplied, the first time you start it, you should calibrate it. You do this by holding down the up and down buttons simultaneously for 10 seconds until the display blinks. The desk will now automatically calibrate its height. Now you may heighten and lower it as you please. You can bind certain heights to the numbered buttons. In this example, we save the height 76 to number 1 by holding down M and then choosing 1 to the desk's current height. No matter what height the desk might be at, when holding down 1, it will return to the bound height that was set to it, in this case 76. If you want to know more about the Arena Moto, head over to our website and write us through our social platforms or support mail listed there. We hope you found this video helpful.